Today on Tame Your Talent, we're going to talk about filler words. Now, I've discussed some of this stuff in some of the courses, but not into full detail. And you might want to know, what do you mean by filler words? And I can tell you what I mean by filler words. Ums, ands, buts, us, stuff that does not need to be in the conversation. How important is it to not add that stuff? It's very important because when you're talking with someone or when you hear someone speak and they're putting ums in between words, there's no reason to even put an in there. If you're talking about the weather, why do you even add How about when you're talking about the weather, you don't have to add it. And sometimes I feel, and I've felt this for many years about people, I feel that people, what they do is they feel like they have to consistently keep talking. So that's where the and the ums come from. When they're finishing a sentence, they keep going. They'll finish the sentence and go, and then we went over to this one place, look at that. You don't need any of that in there at all. Those are filler words that need to stop. And I got a story at the end of this I'm going to tell you about where I had a problem with a filler word that would never leave me alone until I finally did something about it. But I'll get to that in a moment. All right. Well, how do you fix that? All right. Thinking about what to say. All right. Well, know what you're going to say. All right. Have an idea. This goes back to being prepared. I mean, I talk about being prepared so many different times in so many different classes, but you can see now how important it is. If you're not prepared, that breaks out the stammering, the ends, the ums, the buts, the us. Those all start coming out because you don't know your material. You don't know your event. You didn't prepare, and now you're suffering the consequences of that. Okay. Searching for the right words. Well, search for the right words. Know how to formulate it in your head, okay? But the thing is, if you forget what you're saying, stop, pause, and go back into whatever you're going to say, okay? You don't have to fill that whole pause time with and What is that doing? That's not helping you out. It's stammering on the mic. It's not being prepared. So you definitely want to know what you're going to say, formulate what to say, okay? Breaking the silence. Can you imagine the first thing you do when you go on stage and you announce for the first time and you break the silence and you drop 3 or 4 ums in there? How is that going to sound? That's not going to sound professional. Listen for it. When you're talking with someone, listen to how many times people will say and, but, us. Just listen to how many times people do that. I've worked with so many people and different directors and producers that when they get everyone together in a meeting room and they start talking to us, they start dropping ums like they're going out of style, right? Well, if you're in that position, you should not be doing that. And you should really try to fix that because the filler words are going to get you in the end if you don't take measures to not do them. Trust me on that one. All right, nervousness. Well, nervousness can definitely formulate into some ums, some ands, some buts, the us. But if you're not nervous and you're prepared, you can get through your speech properly. Know where you're going with your speech too as well. Because if you don't have a clear idea of where you're going with your speech and where you're going to the next part, then that's when the ums and all that come in because you're unsure of what you're doing next. So if you know where you're going in announcing, you don't have to drop the ums because you know exactly where you're going, where to send it to, who to toss to, and what to do. Okay. Thinking of what to say next. Well, you don't have to think of what to say next if you already know what to say next, okay? Because you're prepared. You already know this, right? So that is confidence right there because when you know all that, you can get through it, okay? All right. Replace with a pause, think or say pause instead. So when I talk about that, that's the pause. Just if you're thinking about what to say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the event. Today, we have a very special day for you. Now I'm stopped. I'm thinking about what I'm going to say with the schedule. Schedule pops into my mind. Today, we will start things off at 10:30 with blah, blah, blah. See how I'm doing that? Now, if I start the conversation, today we have an amazing day happening for you. At 10:30, we're going to see, not prepared, not knowing the times, not knowing what to say. Here comes the wagon. You don't want the wagon, okay? You don't want it. All right. Get comfortable with silence. Have that break. It's okay. People aren't going to leave. I joke with all my directors, like, I better talk because everyone's going to leave. They're not going to know what's going on, okay? It's not going to happen. Pause, relax. You can do this, man. Slow down your mouth so your brain can catch up. Sometimes I get ahead of myself and I'm just blah, 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 blah. No one's listening to that. That becomes white noise where you just don't even understand what you're hearing, okay? Slow down, enunciate, say things properly. Practice random conversations that you can do when asking people about something or telling something about yourself. That's important too. To be able to, like, if you're going to talk about yourself, shouldn't you be able to talk about yourself without a bunch of ums, ends, buts? You should be able to, because you've already lived a life. You already know who you are, what you're doing. So that's being prepared because you already have lived it. So when you're doing an event, being prepared stops that too as well. All right. Now also, write it down, cross it out, whatever you got to do. All right. Let me tell you about a little story for you. Started getting into radio. I was a morning show disc jockey in Santa Barbara. I was DJ of the year for 2 years in a row. But before I got to the pinnacle of being the DJ of the year in Santa Barbara for 2 years in a row, well, I had to stumble along a little bit. When I first got on the radio, I wasn't really ready on what I was supposed to say. So every time I would be introducing music or talking about music, I would say the word little. Oh, we have a little of this coming up. That was a little blah, 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 and that was a little of this and a little of this. Hey, join us. We're going to have a little things going on. I got a little of oh my gosh. I was saying little literally like 50 times in an hour, it seemed like. And I could not stop it. So I took a piece of paper out. I wrote the word little. I put a big red circle around it and a big red line right through little. And I put it right in front of my microphone. And you know what? I stopped saying little right after that. And I never did it again. All right? So you can do the same. Have fun with this one. Remember, pause. Dramatic pause is so important. Mark Twain calls it the dramatic pause. And Mark Twain says that that is more powerful than words. And in a proper speech, a dramatic pause can really mean the difference of a great delivery. This is Tame Your Talent, and those are your filler words.